Georgia Tech opponent revealed in the SEC ACC Men's Basketball Challenge, and a four-star was just on campus and picked up an offer from Georgia Tech. He's the fastest rising player right now in the sport when it comes to grassroots. We talk about that and more today on the show.
Fly.
All right, what's going on, y'all? So, as y'all know, the offseason has officially kicked off, right? It's been in the offseason. We've seen portal transfers, different things like that. So, what was revealed last night via John Rothstein was the SEC ACC Men's Challenge. As you guys know, the SEC won this challenge last year, 9-7, but the ACC competed. And at one point, I believe they were up. I believe they were up big time before the SEC ended up winning this challenge. I think they might have won like the first couple of games for sure. So it's some marquee matchups to say the least. I might do a separate video and react to all those top tier matchups. But for this one, we're going to keep it around Georgia Tech, right? And my honest thoughts with Georgia Tech is they're going to play a team that they know well, right? They lost last year, and this was a different era. They played again. This was the Damon Stoudemire era, but they lost 85-73. Okay, so they have a new opponent, or excuse me, the same opponent from last year. This year, the difference is they have to travel to Mississippi State, right? And they're going to have to go there and go play the Bulldogs, right? So two really different looking rosters. We'll pull that up here in a second, but just talking about Georgia Tech and the opportunity, right? I have an article that's coming out about this in a little bit, right? Revenge, being able to kind of avenge that loss from last year, right? Being able to pick up a quality win, regardless of what you say in the SEC, and let's just say what Mississippi State is. They're not the top tier program. They're not the blue blood, but that's still an opportunity for a quality win. We'll see if it's a quad 1, quad 2, quad 3. We're not too sure at the moment, what I'm saying, with everything that's going on. But it's an opportunity for that. And especially with the expansion of the NCAA tournament to 76 teams, it opens up an opportunity for Georgia Tech in the non-conference play schedule. They don't have a bunch of like marquee non-conference games just yet, I believe. The other one is Murray State. So you're going to need that opportunity to do that. And number 3, we get a chance to see where they're at, right? How good is this roster? How good can they mesh is one of the biggest questions for Georgia Tech moving forward, because they brought in a lot of guys. They brought in Kobe Garland, right? They brought in Muldrew. They brought in Tyler Jordan, Caden Bailey, Caden Allen, Mustafa Job, Jackson McVeigh. They brought in a lot of guys to kind of fit this roster to see what they have kind of moving forward. So it's going to be very intriguing. And for Mississippi State, as we pull up the roster here, this team looks vastly different compared to last year, right? They bring in Ashton McGee, right? He's coming to Mississippi State, right? He'll be coming from, I believe, Southern University. I've never seen their logo before, right? Then you have Indy Okafor, who comes over from Washington State. Thomas Basong, he comes over from Florida State. You have TJ Simpkins coming over from Seton Hall. Kendall Sanders coming over from Utah. And then the biggest one, I think, for Mississippi State out of all of these is R.J. Johnson, combo guard from Grissom in Huntsville, Alabama, 6'4", 225, right? He played a big role for Kennesaw State, them getting back to the tournament again this past year. They ended up losing, but gave a great battle in that first half of that game. But he's coming to Mississippi State, right? And then they lose a bunch of transfers out. Amir Ali, Jaden Epps, Delquan Warren, Guy Chol, I believe. Jamarian Davis Fleming, who's now at Alabama. You got Serge Makura, Anchor. Interesting name. He's gone as well. So they lose a lot. But it should be a basketball team that, we'll see what happens, right? Hopefully they're competitive enough. So, like I said, for Georgia Tech, this is an opportunity, in my humble opinion, to just earn a good win, right? And last year, Mississippi State was 13-19, so I know they're like, not really talking about how is this a quality win. But remember, it is an SEC opponent, right? That helps in this challenge as well. Because remember, think about the ACC last year. They were much improved, right? You had North Carolina, Duke, Virginia, right? Trying to think of my other teams that were in there. Louisville, NC State, I believe as well. Miami, right? So there were so much better teams in the ACC last season in basketball and hoops. that it allowed for more teams to be into the tournament, right? And with the expansion, if you're Georgia Tech, hey, the goal is to make the tournament. That's more revenue for the program. That makes it look better. You compete in the tournament, right? And you're trying to get back on track. So for me, I think that's mutually beneficial for them moving forward. So if they win this, and if the ACC handles business in this challenge this year, and I told y'all last year I thought the ACC would be much better than what it was, and we saw that last year, then that helps them moving forward, regardless if Mississippi State is good or not. It's still it's still an SEC opponent, and it's still a team that you got to definitely consider. You know what I'm saying, for that challenge, and it'll obviously help them, especially if Mississippi State is any good, right? Now they ain't got to be great. Let's say they go 20-10, right? Or let's say they go 20-9, right? That's going to help out Georgia Tech a lot with what they're trying to do, especially. But we'll see. I don't know how much they'll be improved, but a lot of opportunity with this game for Georgia Tech, and opportunity to handle business. And you go on the road, right? So remember, in the net rankings and getting that quad one win, if they're top 75 net, like that's a quad one win for Georgia Tech. If they're top 76, I think, to like 150, that's a quad two win. So you want to rack up on those games early, and this is in December. So that's exactly what you want to do if you're Georgia Tech moving forward. And this is the kind of game you definitely want to be able to handle business with. So that is the SEC ACC Men's Challenge. That is Georgia Tech's opponent that has been revealed. More obviously be revealed over the summer. All right. Now, another big news for Georgia Tech that I want to talk about is MJ Curry, or Marcus Curry. He was on campus this past weekend for an unofficial visit, right? They had him over. And I think this is a very smart move for one. Number one, why is this a smart move? Because Curry is a four-star prospect. You remember a few years ago, he transferred over from Grovetown to Grayson. Grayson is a program that recently won a state championship a few seasons ago, right? They produced guys. They had Jacob Wilkins there, right? Jakari Harris, Amir Taylor, who just played for Kennesaw State. So MJ is a guy, like, he comes there to Grayson. They got a lot of talent, but he's one of the marquee guys there, right? So he's playing in the 6A. I believe it's going to be 7A this year for Grayson basketball. And one of the top classifications in the state of Georgia, right? With the Wheelers, in there with the McKeetrons. Like, these are the stable programs in the state of Georgia when it comes to hoops, right? So he's playing in that type of classification. He's playing top tier competition. Then on the AAU circuit, he's playing for one of the best programs in Atlanta Celtics, right? So that's another top tier program. They just had recently Nasir Anderson, who blew up last year. He played at Norcross before he transferred over to Prolific Prep. He kind of blew up in the summer, and that led to that transfer as well. So he's right outside of that top 100, right? He's like 105, I think, for 247 Sports. So he, to me, has an opportunity with it being peak summer, ability to grow and be a top 50 national recruit. So if you're Georgia Tech, this is very smart because he got offers out the book, right? He got Georgia, Tennessee, Florida State, right? Um, a whole bunch of offers. Those are the top three that come to my mind, but a whole bunch of offers from across, right? And he's still considered a 3-star on 247 Sports. The 4-star billing comes from ESPN, right? So if you're Georgia Tech, you want to keep the top talent in the state. And like I said, I think it's a good sign because some nervousness of Scott Cross was, will he be able to recruit good enough? Will he be able to bring in top tier talent? And regardless of what you say about Damon Stoudemire era, right? It wasn't the best, no, but he was an elite recruiter. He just couldn't develop the talent to go on the floor and to be able to produce consistently every night, right? There was up and down nights. He just was unable to do it for whatever reason, right? So if you're Georgia Tech, you still want to be able to recruit top tier talent to come to the city, to come to Atlanta, to come to the A, right? And I believe this is a step in the right direction with MJ Curry, who's one of the top basketball prospects, in my opinion, in the country. Okay. So this is a guy definitely you want to know. Like I say, he was on campus. He's here with Coach Scott Cross, a UV, unofficial visit, right? Enjoying his time there. I believe that might have been his pops, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. But great for Georgia Tech to ingratiate themselves with this player, right? Now, we'll see what happens. They have other offers out there like the Kevin Savages of the world, the Chase Lumpkins of the world, the Trey Keefs of the world, right? You just want to bring a good base. But what I told y'all is what I love about this coaching staff that Coach Cross put together. He's not going to have to put in grave amounts of work. When I say grave amounts of work, like with the recruiting perspective, yes, he's going to have to recruit, but he's not going to have to go 110% every single time with recruiting because the coaching staff that he has is so good at standing out to recruits and they're so good at bringing in players that it's going to make his job that much easier, right? And he will be able to focus on the administrative part of it, of getting his team developed, of getting his team right and ready to go, right? So for him, I believe that helps him out a ton, moving forward because these coaches are going to be able to go and recruit these players as assistants and they're going to be able to bring them on campus and be able to land them, right? So that makes his job a whole much easier, in my opinion. So yeah, MJ Curry is one of those ones, man. You can go look. at his tape, what he does, what he brings to the table. I think it's great for them to be trending for this player. He just played in Pango's All American camp, was top 30 there. You know what I'm saying? He's 6'6, 6'7. And what he brings to the table, as I alluded to in the article earlier this morning, is he is very aggressive, right? He's a high riser, he's a dunker, he's athletic, but he also plays the defensive side of the ball, right? He's a two-way player, good with steals, good with rotational defense, good at helping switch and move over. And you're not going to out hustle him. You're not going to out motor him. You're not going to outplay him, right? So he brings it every single day. So if you are Coach Cross and you this coaching staff and Coach Flanagan, and you're like, hey, we need a player in the next 2027 class that mirrors what we want to be, like MJ Curry is the perfect fit for that because he's going to bring it every single night. He is one of those obviously big time guys that you can lean on and that will give you 110% every single time, right? High character, high motivated guys, and that is exactly what Coach Cross wants to bring to the Flats, to Atlanta. So, I wouldn't look at this as like, oh yeah, it's just a UV. It's a Georgia Tech is making their claim a little bit, right? So now it's can you close the deal, right? Because like I said, I think he has the potential to be a top 50 national recruit. Can you close the deal? Can you get him on campus for August for a OV, which is an official visit, right? And how does it go there? Because August is going to be the prime recruiting month, even though that's football season, and football season is in the prime, you will have official visits as well on campus. So can they do what they need to do in order to land him? Is going to be one of the biggest questions. And can they bring him on campus, right? So there y'all have it, man. That is Georgia Tech hoops. That's all I have for this episode in this video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. You hype it up, and I will see you guys in the next one. And remember, it's always peace and love.